But welcome everybody. Today we are going to be generating some megacorps using Seize That Number. I actually just got my book today. And it is gorgeous. Tim here, actually. Perfect timing. Had the idea that I should do some megacorps. What I think I'm actually going to do is we're going to generate a district by just doing the tags. Very simple. And then we're going to do 3 megacorps and their CEOs. And then we're going to do schemes. Now for the schemes, I don't know if we're going to do a scheme for each megacorp or if we're going to do like one pay scheme for one of them and like a district level scheme for the other and have that involve like the 3rd megacorp. But we'll get into that. We'll figure out how things go. The first thing we're going to do is just do the district stuff. And that will give us an idea of what the area that our megacorps are in are going to be like. Mostly the reason why I'm doing this is because I am running Seize That Number game, I think at the end of the month. So I thought I would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, try out these tools, and also then generate a district for my own game. So that way, anybody who's run their own game can use this, and also I will help myself with it. The first thing we're going to do is generating 2 district traits. And so for that, it's basically like the tags. If you're familiar with Words on Number, I don't know if Stars That Number has this. I think it does. There's tags where you roll D100 and you get something. So we're going to roll 2 times. So the first time, we got 44. And 44 is human trade. District traits. Also, one thing I'll say now is that this is going to be more of a second monitor / audio stream, I would say. I'm going to take notes here on this notepad that I'm going to put on the Discord afterwards. But in general, this is going to be pretty much... There's not going to be a lot of visuals on screen. So if you're doing other stuff, or if you're playing games, or you're just going to fall asleep to this, it is good for that, because there's not much happening video-wise. So the first one we got is human trade, so that's kind of dark. And the second one is 94, which is urban maze. Okay, well, this already sounds horrifying. And so every tag has a little description to sort of help you get the juices flowing. So for human trade, people are bought and sold here, perhaps openly, perhaps under the rubric of training indentures or debt repayment plans. Most of the major powers here are involved in this human trafficking, and other city inhabitants know that the easiest place to get workers is in this district. So we could do some wage slave stuff with that. And urban maze. The district's geography and architecture have made the place into a nearly impenetrable maze of alleys, corridors, courtyards, and tenements. Without a local guide, only the most well-known landmarks are accessible to outsiders, and it may be difficult to get vehicles bigger than a motorcycle into the area. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I like that as sort of a style. I think these 2 things will sort of give you, I guess, the vibe of the district, and this vibe fucking sucks, which is perfect for Cyberpunk. I'll also say I'm only looking through the book now, really, in terms of like the actual physical book. I've been looking through the PDF for the last few weeks, and I gotta say, the PDF does not do it justice. That offset print really, really does look good in person. With that, we can expand on this district a bit as we do the megacorps, because my plan here is to maybe turn this into a bit of like an impromptu series if I decide to just do more streams. Because there's also like gang generation, and mission generation, and NPCs, and all other sorts of things. So, excuse me. Over the course of a few streams, I might just end up generating an entire district and really fleshing it out, and I'll just put it all like in one folder, or one file, and then putting it on the Discord, and then people can just download it and then use it for themselves. I'll have to think of a name for this district. So if anybody has any name ideas, feel free to let me know. But first, let's do the first megacorp. The gut, yeah, Tim. So I told Tim earlier that my thoughts were I was going to do that. There's a place here in St. John's called the Gut. And the gut is essentially just like a little bay. It's nothing like special or dystopian. But I thought that's like a really good name for a district. So I was like, maybe I'll just call this the gut. Because I feel like that's just very simple, very easy. So we could go with the gut, but if anybody has any other better ideas, then we'll go with that. But right now, I will say district name, the gut. And you know what? Actually, don't let anyone hear you say it's not important. That's true, yeah. I guess it is somewhat important in terms of like, you know, being a really old part of the city, but fuck that. All right. So we're gonna do our first Megacorp. There's really not that much to making these. I thought there'd be a lot more, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that it's just 2 pages, and there's 5 tables on it, and you just basically roll on those tables. It's all d20s. And what you have here is you have the main corp focus and the general corp style. So you have sort of what they do, and what their whole like company ethos is. What their strengths are, what their goals are, recent corporate events, and their name and the corp element, which we'll get to that in a bit. But the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to do the main corp focus and general corp style. So for main corp focus, is 17 security services. Okay, and their general corp style is 19, vengeful, unusually inclined to punish those who trouble it, even if unprofitable. Okay, cool. So we got police force on our hands. Sweet. So let's do vengeful, unusually inclined to punish those who get in their way / wrong them. All right. And we'll expand these once we have them all down. So the particular corp strengths, 10. Their schemes are unusually effective. Corp strength. No, don't do it, middle. No. No, I would never say that. Their schemes are unusually effective. Let's do, I guess we'll do recent. No, let's do current corp goals first, because I feel like that makes the most sense. 14. Steal a vital secret from another corp. Perfect. That will easily feed into what we want to do with schemes here later on with this. Corp goal. Steal a vital secret from another corp. Oh, this is so good. This is great. So recent corporate event is number 5, which is it earned a miserable public reputation. So we got the security company, who's vengeful, and has gotten a really bad rap, in this urban maze with human trafficking. I think I'm going to lean more to wage slavery than necessarily, I guess, well, instead of, I guess, classical slavery. But hey, Sundance Kid, you came in at a great time. But I think there's already a lot of stuff to work with here. So corp recent event. Has earned a miserable public reputation. Okay. And then, our name and element. So the first one for the name element, 9. Name of its industry. Okay. Name of its industry. We might re-roll these if it's not very good. We'll see. And then the corp element 1 associates. I don't mind associates. I think that's fine. I'm not sure about name of its industry, though. I'm not really feeling it. Just roll again, see what we get. 12. Natural feature name. Okay. So name of natural feature, that's, you know, I mean, there's always stuff, there's already like a security company out there, not security company, but I guess file security company called like Iron Mountain. So I feel like something like that, like Typhoon Associates, or maybe like Hurricane, or I guess that's more natural disaster than natural feature. A company called Plateau Associates is very funny to me. Volcano. You know, we should give them an ironic name, like Green Prairies Associates. Now I'm wondering if actually the Associates doesn't work with the natural feature name. What do you guys think? I'm gonna go with let's just go easy for now, and we'll do Sunny Fields Associates. Which I can't remember. Is that the name? Was that the name of the corporation that hired Martin's character, My World's Outnumber, Temple of Elemental Evil actual play? Was it Sunny Fields? I think it might be. And if it is, you know what? Let's just keep this. I think that might be what I called it. I remember calling it something like that. That made it kind of flowery, even though it was also a bad corporation, essentially, under the guise of a guild. So I'm gonna actually keep that because I feel like that's at least either I'm just horribly uncreative, but I'll just flip that to say it's a reference, a deep cut reference. Okay. And so with that, we'll hire the CEO of this first megacorp. We'll generate, what the hell. And we'll see what we get. And from there, we can maybe flesh out this megacorp a little bit. Sundance, I don't think it does. If you've played Worlds Without Number, it's pretty close to that. There's not really like a thing where you roll on, oh, like in your teens you did this. As a kid, you did this. Melon Tusk as CEO. That's actually really funny. I might do that. I will say I do like what it says for making names, which we'll also do. But we're gonna do Melon Tusk for this. I like Melon Tusk. But what it says in the book here, I'll just read out for you guys. It says, pick a name. Conveniently enough, there are several thousand backer names listed in the back of this book. You can mix and match as needed to get a name for your NPC. But yeah, so I'll do Melon Tusk for this one because I just think it's funny enough. But after that, we'll go through the back of the book and we'll immortalize some backers with our silly little corporations we make here. So I don't know if this is what this should be used for, but it's really close to the Megacorporation and gang generation, so I'm going to use it. But you have a NPC creation thing, which has 5 tables as well, just like the corporations. So let's see what this guy can do. So the first one is the NPC's main strength. 1, charm. Able to persuade other NPCs and people with their winning ways. Okay. Main strength. Charm. Very persuasive and affable. Okay. Notable NPC virtues or qualities. Let's see what we get. Notable qualities. And we got forgiving temperament even if unwise. Okay. Even if unwise. Okay. This is sounding more like Melon Tusk or Melon Tusk. But not the real guy. Okay, let's see here. NPC personality flaws. Leaves a trail of mistreated lovers. Okay, this all seems to track truly with what we've rolled up so far. Mistreated lovers. Okay, and then the fourth thing is current NPC problems. Current problems. And we got 12, which is they're in dire need of money. Okay. And I feel like with this, because this is going to be more, I think, mostly NPCs you're going to meet, we're going to assume this is like a hefty sum of money that they're in need of. In dire need of money. Okay. And their current desires is the last thing. 2. They want more leisure time to themselves. Okay. Current desires wants more leisure time to themselves. Okay. So already with the Sunnyfields Associates, this security company, I feel like they probably work well as just like maybe a more minor district megacorp, where most of their stuff is maybe tied up in the different like wage slave maybe companies. Maybe there's like almost like a temp company or like a temp corporation, or even just like this amalgamation of a lot of different temps. And it could just be that they are essentially just like a paramilitary force here that are pretty much just keeping things in line as best they can in this like messed up. Basically, this is like what like Kowloon walled city is essentially what I'm imagining here. So, and I feel like they're in dire need of money. Leaves a trail of mistreated lovers. Why would they need money for? Could be a gambling problem. Though I feel like with the flaws being leaves a trail of mistreated lovers, it could be maybe like a lot of like hush money. Maybe there's a lot of stuff they don't want coming out about them. It's pretty dark. Melon Tusk. Lots of kids. Hey, just like a certain someone. Melon Tusk is draining their bank account on alimony. No, I feel like in this sort of world, if you're like the rich CEO of a corporation, you're not going to need to worry about that stuff too much. I feel like a lot of things are bent in your way. However, it's hard to say because it depends on what else we generate, because it could be... I'm going to say for now, we're going to keep things somewhat vague here, because I feel like the best thing to do is that, especially if I'm trying to make this for both myself and if anybody wants to use this, it might be good to try and keep it, you know, somewhat vague so that somebody can just take this and then just run with it and sort of just fill in the blanks themselves. Let's say Melon Tusk is draining their bank account through by having to pay severe and harsh monthly payments to several anonymous accounts. So this could be the lovers. It could be maybe somebody has their thumb over him. It could be a gambling issue, drugs. It could be probably really anything, or a mixture of a bunch of different things. This could be somebody who has a bit of like a, you know, with both the charm and the forgiving temperament. They could be somebody who is very much like showing the world that like, oh hey, like I'm just a good guy in this bad world. I'm one of the few good guys. And if a lot of your reputation is based on that, even if the company you own is having lots of issues, if you were able to like smooth a lot of things over, maybe whatever he's paying monthly to keep quiet is the kind of thing that will sink that reputation that he has. So I think it could go that way for sure. Possibly to somebody, or I'll just say something. Also somebody who might have something on them that could tarnish. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to try and do that, because even when you get to the schemes, you guys will see later, the schemes go pretty in depth. They're kind of meant to be these things that will sort of keep the world moving, even when you're doing stuff, that like there's almost like these ticking timers and plans that are moving ahead no matter what you're doing, and then you might be able to affect them, you might not in that moment, but those can get pretty in depth, and I'm going to try and keep them pretty surface level, just so that, excuse me, sorry. I'm going to try to keep them pretty surface level, just so that'll be easier for everybody just to take it for themselves and do what they want with it. Let's see here. Possibly somebody who might have something on them that could tarnish their reputation as a charming playboy. Charming playboy who owns a paramilitary company. Like a paramilitary troop. Okay. So, that is our first Megacorp. I might go back to these as we flesh more things out, but it'll be easier once we see what else is here, because this will be like basically like the 3 main big Megacorps that are operating in this district. There's a lot more throughout the city that this will be in. There'll be a lot more that might even have, you know, some fingers and some pies in this district, but overall, the ones who have their main sort of like base is going to be these 3 that we do. Oh, Molly. Megacorp number 2. Let's see what their focus is. Six, cyberware. Ooh. Hell yeah. Cyberware. Okay. And their general corp style. 12. Murderous. Ooh. Yes. And Murderous says, making precise and targeted use of violence against its problems. Okay. Night, Linus. Making precise and targeted, let's say, use of violence against his problems. Okay. That is fun. Corp strength. I rolled 10 again. I'm gonna change to a different one just to get some interesting. This one's rolling on 9s and 10s a bunch. There we go. 13. That's a new one. Ooh, their products are cheap but effective. I like that. For cyberware, that's actually really interesting, because that could lead to a lot of interesting mission ideas. Of maybe a prototype that's, you know, a little bit too powerful. It could also be a lot of a sadder storyline they could do with that sort of stuff, where, like, you know, like bionics for people, you know, like for amputees or anything like that, are not working well, or, you know, might have some issues because they're cheap, but, you know, maybe they also are doing really well. Or it could just be a crapshoot of some are doing really well, and then some are going haywire, maybe causing people to go cyber psycho. I like that. Products are cheap but effective. Also, if we want to go really dark with this as well, having cheap but effective products for a corporation that's based in what is the, like, human trade district of the city, mixing those two things together, I think you can make something pretty disturbing with that. I'll try to not go into anything too graphic in terms of like ideas and stuff because, you know, for me, Cyberpunk is meant to be pretty dark and awful. But you know, it doesn't have to be for some people. So I don't want to, you know, make anybody too uncomfortable. So I will try and keep any fun ideas of horrible shit pretty surface level. Oh, that's a good idea, Molly. Yeah. Molly says, I think maybe they have a high rate of failure, like they burn out really quickly, often at really deadly times. I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, you know, in terms of mechanics, what you could do with that company is that if their products are readily available in this district, when you buy them, because there's like a whole cyberware purchasing, you know, system in the game, what you could do is maybe have them be like the prices are like half the price, or like maybe like 2/3 of the price, whatever you want to do. That seems fair. But then maybe like after, I don't know, a session, or maybe after a certain amount of time, or maybe right away, every time they use anything that uses those bionics, or uses that cyberware, maybe you just like roll a secret die and see if it fails, or see if it has an issue or something pops up, or just pop that out on them like at like a really bad time for dramatic effect when they're doing a heist or they're in a gunfight or something like that. So I think that's a great idea, Molly. I think that's a very good one. Current corp goal. I'm gonna change dice because this die has rolled 9 and 10 over and over again, and I want to not do that. 12. Oh, current corp goals 12. Back a useful group of terrorists. Okay, that is interesting. Back a useful group of terrorists. That's fun. Oh, look at this. This works out perfectly. Corp recent event number 8. A product recently backfired direly. Oh, there's a lot of stuff with that you could do. That could be even bigger than just like some cyberware. That could be cyberware in a really bad place. Like that could be cyberware maybe somebody from Sunny Fields is using while they're like in like a flying sort of chopper kind of thing. Maybe it blew that up and that went crashing to a building. Maybe it was like near like a gas station, or maybe it was in a hospital. You know, when it was supposed to be used on like maybe like somebody very powerful, when they're supposed to be like, you know, being operated on or something like that. There's a lot of different things you could do with that depending on what the cyberware is or how far you want to go with that. Okay, and their name and element. So name. So we got color name for the name element, and the corp element. Also got 4 combine. I'll just roll another one just to check. 11. International. Ooh. Actually, I like that. We could do like maroon international. I feel like doing anything just like blue or red or purple works, but I feel like we should go with like a different name. Chartreuse international, which kind of sounds more like makeup or perfume. Magenta international is actually pretty cool. I like that. I'm gonna do that. I was thinking Violet international. I thought Violet, and then I was thinking Molly, I thought the exact same thing. I was thinking Violet, and then my brain went Violence, but then I thought of Magenta, and I kind of like Magenta. But I think both Violet and Magenta are good. I'm gonna do a poll because we have some people in the chat. Let's see what people pick. God damn it. Actually, never mind, I won't, because I have to sign into Twitch, and I can't remember what my password is. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna flip a die is what I'm gonna, or flip a die. I'm gonna roll a die. I got a D4. On a 1 or 2, we'll do Violet. On a 3 or 4, we'll do Magenta. 2, Violet. All right. Violet International it is. I didn't, for some reason, Twitch has kicked me out of everything on all my different systems, and I forgot to sign in before this, which I should have done, but I didn't think of it. Oh, I just realized why. I've been gone for 2 weeks. So when I got back, everything's been signed out, I guess. All right, and now we'll do the CEO for this. But honestly, I like this one a lot. I actually think I prefer this one to the first one. CEO number 2. I mean, I think they both work really well, but I think Violet International has a lot of potential. So for CEO number 2, what we're going to do is we're going to take the advice in the back of the book, and we're just going to mix 2 backer names together. And, oh my god, there's so many names. This is what it looks like. You probably can't see it, but those are all names. I'm gonna go with Marco Telshin. This is actually a pretty good generator, I'm not gonna lie. Marco Telshin. And I closed the book by accident. Also, I was saying this earlier, but the book is actually, like, it's still like a normal sized book, but I will say next to Worlds Without Number, it feels so small. It's not small at all, it's still packed with content, but it just feels small because of how big those books are. How big Stars Without Number is. And so, let's make Marco Telshin. Can I just... No. Marco Telshin. Main strength. Okay, this die is rolling a lot of 4s. I've rolled like 5 4s now with this. I re-rolled a few of them just because I was like, okay, this keeps giving the same number. Ooh, 4. Deception. Capable of tricking and misleading others easily. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. Of tricking and misleading others easily. Okay. Notable qualities. (18) Patient when taxed or annoyed. So far with Deception and this, I'm getting like a bit of like a little finger, or, you know, kind of like a bit of somebody who's like much more intelligent and plays their cards, you know, very close to the chest, is what I'm getting already just from these 2 rolls, is how I'm starting to see this person. Patient when taxed or annoyed. Yeah, I know, right? Right, middle, because I was like, you know, I mean, I am kind of glad that it does say that, but it basically does just give you the definition of what deception is. I didn't know if it would give anything a little bit more, a little bit more like context dependent on Cyberpunk stuff, but you're welcome for the English lesson. Personality flaw. Seven. Ooh. Exceptionally greedy despite its dangers. Oh, I just wrote exceptionally despite its dangers. Exceptionally greedy. Exceptionally greedy. Exceptionally greedy despite its dangers. Okay, you know, classic CEO bullshit. Current problems. 19. They've lost or had stolen a vital thing. You know, I'm wondering, with the corp goal of Sunny Fields, they have steal a vital secret from another corp. This could be related. It could be unrelated. It could be a totally different thing. But maybe they've lost, like, maybe the piece to something bigger that they're after. So there could be something with that. But let's do the last one, current NPC desires. Oh, current NPC desires, they want to earn forgiveness. Current desires. They want to earn forgiveness. I wonder if that's like forgiveness, like in the religious sense. You know, maybe there's somebody who, because I do, so I tend to leave a lot of religion out of my games. At least in a lot of the games I run publicly, just due to my views on it. Where I might not necessarily have the most charitable view on it. But I do feel like in Cyberpunk, religion I do find a fascinating thing to explore. I believe it was Altered Carbon. Controversy incoming, yeah, right? I do like an Altered Carbon that I believe one of the main characters, I can't remember her name now, but like the main female character, I'm fairly sure she's from like a very Catholic family, and like they have like those chips that basically you can sort of be reincarnated into, or like just sort of like basically re-upload into the chips they have in their necks. And I believe I think they like invented those chips, and then everybody's born with them or something like that. I can't remember what it is exactly, but essentially the ones who are Catholic or some of the religions don't allow you to be re-upload. It goes against the religion and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was an interesting. I thought that was an interesting way to take Catholicism into a futuristic cyberpunk world, where they have literally solved essentially immortality. But you still have like a lot of people who believe in Catholicism or other religions and that sort of thing. And I thought that was a really, really interesting part of that. I do like maybe they're fighting radical anti-capitalist terrorists. I actually do like that. I don't know if necessarily anti-capitalist works for a greedy CEO, but maybe something like that. Maybe something they personally have, like I'm making up for all my crimes as a greedy fucker. Maybe like all the self-loathing Marco has for himself, he's trying to make up for by maybe like eco-terrorists or religious terrorists. Maybe he's, honestly, funding like a far-right, maybe religious group or something is... maybe that's something that he would like feel like this is it. Like he thinks he's literally like on a crusade. That could be something. This character is somebody who's very like volatile, and dangerous like that. Marco Telshin. Yeah, should not trying to go. Should tie into the terrorium somehow. Marco Telshin, Yeah, you know, what we can do is we can try and still keep it somewhat vague. So if anybody wants to download these from the Discord once I upload it there after the stream, maybe somebody can do what they want with it. So we'll say Marco Telshin suffers from suffers a okay. I thought Martin Telshin is currently suffering maybe a morality crisis, or how would you put it? Somebody who's sort of like, he knows all the sins he's doing, all the bad things he's doing, but he's currently trying to like offset this. Currently dealing with a crisis. Is it like crisis of personality or like crisis of morality? we'll say crisis of morality for now until I think of a better way to put that. Due to all the people who have been swindled, hurt, killed, and otherwise had their lives ruined by him due to his greed. He is currently attempting to lighten his conscience by secretly funding a radical terrorist group that shares his political and religious ideologies. I think that's pretty good. I think that is a good little blurb on Marco Telshin. I think that's good enough for now. Like I said, we're going to be coming back to these guys probably once we have more stuff filled out, so we know where to jump between. But let's just do our last mega corporation right now. Oh my god, we've been streaming for almost an hour already. Where's the time go? I'll make this notepad bigger. I want kind of like a Cyberpunk background, just so you guys had a little bit of get in the mood with the music and that. Oh, and also I meant to say this last time, and I meant to say at the beginning of this stream, I totally forgot. Because some people were asking in the comments. I did put in the description, but the music for this stream and the last Cyberpunk stream are by White Bat Audio on YouTube. They have like over 700 videos and compilations of royalty-free copyright music that they make. And so if anybody who's watching this needs some good music for the Cyberpunk games or any other genre, they have a bunch of genres on there. It's good stuff. And if you're a content creator watching this, I'm fairly sure all you have to do is just ping them and cite them in your description, and it's all good. And it's all these solid music for free music. It's pretty solid. Okay, Megacorp number 3. Also, I think White Bat Audio is also Canadian because I looked at their about and it said location Canada, so that's pretty cool. Corp focus. So this is our third corp and last corp. 4 construction. That's fun. General corp style. 14 personalized, with individual managers having very personal control of branches. Okay. With managers, with individual managers having very personal control of branches. Okay. It's a little bit of a weird one, but I like to try and roll with these things that are weird, just so we can see what we get from it. Let's go with corp strength. Okay. I rolled another 14 again. This die is rolling lots of 4s and 14s. Apparently all my dice are loaded today. Because I keep rolling the same numbers. Corp strength. And this one's an interesting one. For corp strength, we got, they're viewed as protectors by a group. Corp goal. Six. Inflict a PR disaster on a rival. Well, that's a fun one. Inflict a PR disaster on a rival. And what's great about this corp goal, we'll see what we get for their recent event, because it could also push it a certain way. But what I like about this goal is that this will easily turn us into them going against either Violet International or Sunny Fields. I think both kind of work, because Sunny Fields recently, what was theirs? Recently has earned a miserable public reputation, so they could jump on that. Maybe they caused it, or maybe that it just happened because, you know, it's basically a bunch of like brutal bruisers. So maybe they are just going to like really pump out to everybody on the news, really push that like whatever happened, maybe they're going to make it a much bigger deal than it is, or just make it so that everybody knows what it is. And Violet International, I believe, what was their event? A product recently backfired direly. Same sort of thing. Maybe they did it, or maybe they're just going to make sure everybody knows about it and won't forget about it. So I think when we get to schemes, I feel like a scheme like that could work pretty well. Okay. Oh, let's see what their recent corporate event was. 12, it formed special ties with the government. Which makes sense, since they're like a construction company, so that works. Corp recent event. It formed special ties with the government. And I think in this case, I feel like what we'll do for government is the local government, like the district, or like maybe like the regional government of like this part of the city. It could be the actual city, that could be interesting, but it could also be cool to try and keep a lot of things in the gut, almost like the gut is its own biome that is kind of hard for outside people to really penetrate with the whole urban maze thing. So I think them mostly just getting ties in with the local government could have a lot of interesting stuff for players to deal with, a lot of intrigue on a sort of street level and district level, rather than getting it too big at first. So that could be a fun place to start if you want to sort of, I don't know, stretch your intrigue muscles as a GM in the local area. Might have less to deal with, you know, because once you get to like city stuff, you're dealing with so many different groups and so many different people. So this could be a good place to start to get some practice in, and also not overwhelm your players. Oh, and let's do their name. So the name element. Ooh, animal name. And the element. I got associate skin. I don't want to do that. 20. Universal. So an animal name universal. Beaver universal. You know, because they build dams. Fire ant universal. Gorilla universal. Big monkey. I feel like these guys would probably go for something, you know, very like generic, like tiger universal. Oh, I know. Rhino universal. Rhinos are, you know, big and built. They build different. So I think that works for a construction company. So, ooh, you know, Tim, just because you're here, let's do white rhino universal. Give it a little bit panache. That's racist. Are there any white rhinos left, or is the last one in South Africa still alive, or did that one die? Because there's only one left, right? Sadly. I thought white rhinos were the ones that were super. I mean, I guess, yeah. I guess they probably all are. Yeah, that's sad. I love rhinos. They're so cute and they're terrifying. All right. And let's create our CEO. So first, let's get their name. Honestly, this backer thing is brilliant. Somebody's name here is Panda Stew, which I like. Auto Biscuit. It is Panda Stew. It is like Molly spelt it. I'm using Panda Stew next game. You know what? That actually would be a great Cyberpunk character. Panda Stew is like, you know, maybe like a melee character who has like cybernetic arms that look like panda arms. So has like these big like bear arms. Oh, yeah, and you could just be like, I got the right to bear arms, and you just punch somebody. And then everybody leaves the game because they're sick of that joke for like the 10th time that session. Disco Lemonade's a great name, and that's also one we should add to the list of Cyberpunk names. You know what we should do? We should make a thread in Burger House where people aren't allowed to type anything except for just Cyberpunk names. We can put Panda Stew and Disco Lemonade there. And if anybody writes anything but a name, they just delete it. I keep closing the damn book. All right, so we got Auto Biscup. And we'll generate their stuff. So the NPC's main strength. Marcy Bessie managed that. You're right, we don't. I'm far too lazy. Ooh, Auto Biscup. Main strength is violence. See, I guess, I don't know if you're still there or not, Middle, but this is more what I was talking about. For the violence, it says either being personally fearsome or having ties to those who are. I feel like adds a bit more context than just giving you the definition of what violence is. Notable qualities. Incorrupt about their given responsibilities? Does that mean they can't be corrupted? Like as in they can't be turned from their path of what they're trying to do? Incorrupted about their given responsibilities. Current problems. Essentially, Tim, we had deception from Marco Telson, and next to deception, it just says capable of tricking and misleading others easily. Nothing wrong with it. It just that like it kind of just tells you what deception is, whereas at least the violence part tells me that it's not necessarily him who's violent. It's that he could also perhaps have like a really violent bodyguard. Now, obviously, the deception part could still be like, you know, whatever. Maybe he has a council of people who are like he's like a spy master type. But I just feel like the violence gives it a better idea. That's not necessarily just him who's violent. He could have, you know, a little paramilitary group, a little personal army, whatever. Know some gang members. Okay. Current problems. I rolled a 20. Oh wait, did I skip flaws? I did skip flaws. Current flaws, I rolled a 20, rather. Current flaws. Or I guess flaw. Thoughtless with those closest to them. current problem. Okay, see you, Tim. Current problem is they owe more than they can pay. And the final thing is current desires. Okay. 18. They want to pursue a tempting secret. Okay. My final boss, yeah. Okay, Otto's interesting. Otto Biscup. So they run a construction company. That seems to okay. So let's see. Let's look at White Rhino Universal first. So it seems like they're viewed as protectors by a group. The goal is to inflict a PR disaster on arrival. It seems like the corp style, the whole personalized with individual managers having very personal control of branches. That could mean that like it's very decentralized, which is strange, I guess. But maybe, you know, that could be a whole part of the whole urban maze, is that maybe if they're not planning all together, the whole reason why this whole place is fucked is because the way they're building it is all these different like rival cells that are just doing their own thing and just grabbing contracts left and right where they can and screwing over the others. So there could be a whole sort of there could be a whole work culture of just like essentially screwing over your coworkers and like you know cohorts to get the better deals, to get the better jobs, and essentially just maybe something that's encouraged by Otto to sort of, you know, keep things moving in a certain way, keeping things really like competitive with everybody. Sounds like a hellish workplace. They're viewed as protectors by a group, and they have special ties to the government. Oh. I wonder if that group could be the government. It could also maybe be, maybe like a Splinter Cell sort of faction of like, you know, some rebels, or maybe some escaped wage slaves or something like that. Who might, when they say viewed as protectors, maybe it's more like, not that they're literally protecting them, but like they made such a fucking terrible urban maze of a place that they're like, oh, it's so easy to hide here. We can fall between the cracks without anybody noticing us. Thank God for the terrible White Rhino Universal and their ridiculous ways of doing business. Ooh, do they have the goodwill of the public because they care for historical monuments? Ooh. I like that. Yeah, I like that. You know, we can say, feels like they are protectors, is maybe some group of like academics, or I guess maybe what kind of historical monuments do you guys think? Do you think like maybe they've incorporated like the old buildings into the new buildings? Maybe that's part of like the rules they have for like their building stuff, where it's like, listen, you guys can screw over each other and do whatever, but if there's one of the older buildings from this area that a lot of people have ties to or care about, whatever, you can build off of it, but you're under no circumstance to like demolish it. So maybe like lots of squatters or just people in the local area who have lots of ties to what this place used to be, care for them. I'll say maybe some squatters or locals who feel deeply about historical monuments, heritage buildings, and structures of that sort that White Rhino makes. White Rhino respects and does not destroy. And I'll leave that open because that could just be the local populace. That could be a group of academics. That could be a bunch of different things. Yeah, you know, that's a great one. Yeah, you know, that in this view towards historical buildings has given them has strengthened their relationship with the local government. Okay. So now that we have sort of White Rhino like understood a little bit, we can go to Otto. Thoughtless of those closest to them. You know, if we go to the, if we want to follow the sort of historical through line, Otto could be behind making sure that sort of stuff happens. He could be like a huge history buff, somebody who really respects that stuff. One of those people that thinks the past was so much better than what it currently is, which in a cyberpunk setting does kind of make sense. So he could be somebody who maybe grew up poor here or has lots of like very old ties to this part of the city and does not want to see any of the old stuff destroyed. But with that could be the sort of thing where, you know how like a lot of evil people are still like dog lovers and cat lovers. It could be that sort of thing where just because he has this like almost like romantic passion and love for his history does not mean that translates to him having like a respect and everything for everything else or people even. So it could be a very cold and cruel kind of person to people, but have this like love for history. And that could also go into the tempting secret. Maybe there's something like this old city, this old part of the city. Maybe there's some sort of secret hidden somewhere. Maybe some say it's treasure. Maybe some say it's old technology for something. Ooh, yeah. Reverence is a perfect word for it, yeah. Otto Biskup has a reverence for history, but cares little for contemporary people. Has been burning through money that he can't pay back. So they owe more than they can pay. Has been burning through money on ridiculous projects, trying to track down something in this district that is very old. Some say it is old treasure. Others say old technology. And some even say a piece of his past. A piece of his past. So that at least gives him a reason as to why he still cares about a lot of the old stuff, but then is also just gaining all this debt. Maybe like just hiring way too many people, getting on like loads of, you know, machinery, and just really, really, really not doing a good job of actually balancing the books properly to offset this ridiculous obsession of his. I think that's pretty good. I think that gives enough to work with, enough personality for this character, while still being able to do what you want with it. Okay. So with all that out of the way, now we have the schemes. I'm not going to do a scheme, I don't think, for all 3 of these. Just because going off of what the book has is that they could all have schemes going on, but in a district, you're supposed to have like 5 corporations, I think like 2 or 3 criminal organizations, a bunch of NPCs and other stuff. Like, it really doesn't matter what you want to do with it necessarily. It's just that you should have a good variety of different people doing stuff. So having every corporation having some goal other than just, doing their day-to-day job could be a little bit ridiculous and also hard to keep track of if your players are bouncing between, different threads. Instead of just following down, one corporation's thread. But we'll get into let's see here, schemes. Yeah, we'll get into schemes now. So with schemes, they have different levels. The smallest level is petty scheme, and then it goes up to, I believe, like planet schemes. Let me see here. I'm just gonna find where it says that. Yeah, so we have petty local schemes, district schemes, city schemes, and regional schemes. And essentially, these are just like big goals that they have that they're trying to achieve. These are also essentially just content for your players. So, the fixers that they might be talking to might have jobs from like, oh, hey, this corporation is looking to do like a heist job here, or this criminal organization needs an assassination. And those might not just be like, oh, I need a RAM job. Here's a RAM job to my players, take this and go do it and whatever. That job could be part of a bigger plan. It might not be a big part of it. It might only have like a little bit of relevance, but it could still be a piece of it. Because essentially every scheme has these points that go towards it that I think both time and things happening, such as missions that the players do, or that the corporation does, like, that you're just rolling behind a table or doing on your own time, where you're just saying, okay, but this point's been 6 months, they're this far ahead in their scheme. And there's, so essentially the start of the scheme, and then there's milestones, and then there's the final goal. So I think what we'll do is we'll do one petty local scheme, just as a little, like, I guess, way to show what we're doing. And then I'll do maybe a district scheme, as well for the other one. And the thing what I might do is that, because like I said earlier, that White Rhino has the inflict a PR disaster on arrival. What is it? Violent International has back a useful group of terrorists, and my corp 1 has Cyfields has steal a vital secret from another corp. All 3 of those could work as schemes. So already right there, instead of me rolling, because there's scheme goal examples that you can roll on. I think we're just gonna take the goals that we rolled as our scheme goals, and we'll go from there. So I feel like for the Sunny Fields, we'll just do a petty local scheme. So that, for petty local scheme, you have a start of the scheme, you have a milestone, then they just reach the final goal, because it's a pretty small one. So we'll say steal a vital secret from another corp. Could be a lot bigger if you want it to be, because it depends on what the secret is, but we'll say this is a pretty small one. So essentially, you have the start of the scheme. And this could be basically like the first mission for the players. So we'll just go down here, and we'll just do Sunny Fields, petty scheme. And what you want to do first, essentially, is find the goal and then work backwards. We already have our goal, so theirs is steal a vital secret from another corp. Just copy and paste that. Corp scheme goal. And then you're going to want, like, a starting mission. And I'm not going to flesh out a whole mission or anything like that. This will just be some ideas to jump off of, essentially. So I feel like for a starting mission for this, that the players might embark on, could be a bunch of things. I mean, there's literally endless possibilities. But I would say you could do, like, a minor heist of, like, maybe like an offsite warehouse, maybe killing like a lower level scientist who's working on the project. It could be kidnapping like an official. It could be maybe breaking into like a government building to try and find some files or maybe some blueprints on like a building so that they can actually break into it and have some better intel on what they should be doing. There's a lot of different things that you could be doing with that. I feel like for this, what we're gonna do, I feel like just because I think it's the most fun way, and I think you can really like kick things off with a bang, I would say doing a heist would be a fun one. So maybe have like a small facility, and essentially what you could do that could be a single session of, you know, basically doing the, you know, like the legwork of finding out, you know, what guards are there, what security defenses they have, you know, cameras, that sort of thing, any sort of robots they might have, turrets, everything else like that, if there are any. And then you do that, you go through, and this could be a good way to give a job to, if you have like a hacker programmer. It could also, if you have some people there like guards who are going to fight back, they'll also give anybody who's like more of a fighting type character some stuff to do. And then going through all that, you could also have, if you have like a wheelman character, someone who's like, I really want to be the guy who like is like the wheelman, who like drives away. You could have it so the facility either, you know, gets alerted and sends after like some vehicles, or when they're leaving, you can have just that, like, just by chance, or that like a secret alarm is tripped, that a security group is coming to sort of take them down, and then you can have a whole chase. So I feel like heist of a moderate security facility located in the gut. Is a solid sort of first mission. I would say, you know, focus on a variety of things, because if you're starting off a game, you kind of want to make sure that everybody gets sucked in. I think it's fine as games go on. Not everybody all the time is going to be able to do stuff. And even in the first game, that's not always going to be a thing you can do. But I do think, in general, to suck everybody into the game, if you don't have really, really good storytelling skills, just getting players involved in some way or another will at least make them feel like they have an impact on what's happening, and then you can just get them right in there. There's a reason why they have cliffhangers, you know, in, you know, pilot episodes, or, you know, really try and hit you with like the interesting stuff in that first episode if they can. And it's why a lot of people drop off if the first episode doesn't have that. So if you can get everybody, you know, into it and ready to go. So having stuff for a hacker to do, wheelman, fighter types, you know, drone experts, like drone operators. Maybe if somebody decided that they were going to buy some cyberware for their character at the beginning of character creation, maybe find a way to like slot that in if you can, you know. Not that I necessarily believe you should make everything around what the players make, because then that makes the world feel like, you know, like a Bethesda RPG where everybody just sort of revolves around them and not them in a real world. But I think at the beginning you can take some leeway with that, just so that everybody feels a little bit special and a little bit, you know, interested in your game. Focus on a variety of skills needed, such as drone operation, hacking, programming, fighting, driving, etc. Okay, and so with a pay scheme, there's not a lot of points that you need. I'm doing not the best of explaining it, but I don't think it really matters to get into the bogged down details. Essentially, there's like a point system that you just get, and like certain missions will give more points and time, that sort of stuff. But for a pay scheme, there's not a lot of points that you need. But at 5 points, you get a milestone. So we'll just roll on what a milestone could be. This won't be like necessarily the final goal, but this will be more like a really big piece of the scheme, such as, you know, maybe kidnapping the CEO's son so that you have like a really big bargaining chip, or, you know, finding a really, really good piece of intel, or maybe the first half of the intel where like, oh, we actually got the security key for like the thing we need, but we actually just need to get that thing now we know where it is and we have the key for it. We can just get to it and go do it. So in the milestones, you have 3 different tables to roll on. You have NPC-related milestones, resource-related milestones, and business-related milestones. I feel like for us, we're going to roll on the business-related milestones. I feel like that makes the most sense for this. And so, milestone. I'm going to roll a d20. 6. Force the government to back off from the plot. Okay. Force the government back off from the plot. So that's interesting. That could be a big milestone in terms of like what I'm seeing now is this Seinfeld's petty scheme means they might actually be stealing from White Rhino Universal, and maybe, you know, with them, with their big ties to the government, the big thing, this milestone would be that maybe the entire time, for some random reason, every time maybe the players are doing stuff on missions, or that the NPCs are saying like, you know, we get these facilities and then suddenly it's just crawling with cops, or we try and go and find information and we just hit so much red tape, or there's like officials stonewalling us, and maybe the milestone is figuring out, you know, what exactly is happening with the government and how they're backing, you know, White Rhino Universal. That could be, you know, just bribing them with more money than the other side's doing. It could be, you know, finding like a secret about somebody, you know, like a dirty secret that an official has, and you're like, listen, I'm gonna leverage this against you. You guys need to back off on what you're doing. Otherwise, I'm going public with this. It could be as far as, you know, maybe sending somebody off into exile because they're, you know, or not exile, but like them going off into hiding is what I mean. By, you know, doing acts of terrorism. It could be a whole slew of things when it comes to forcing the government to back off. But I feel like with the government being explicitly mentioned, I feel like this should be something against White Rhino. Is what I would do. And then the final step would be just profit. Final step, profit. You get your little secret from the other corp. And you know what? You know what I'm getting now? I'm just going to write out basically a little blurb of what I think the scheme would be. I think the scheme here, if we're doing White Rhino, is that I think they're trying to find out what Otto's looking for. Otto has his own secret that he's pursuing, like, obsessively. And I like the idea that that could be an interesting sort of mounting tension, or rising tension sort of storyline, where White Rhino Universal and Otto are looking for stuff. Sunnyfields is trying to figure out, firstly, what he's looking for, and then maybe as they're discovering what it is, they're dealing with more and more of the government, they're dealing with White Rhino, and I feel like that's some pretty simple and easy way to have these two corps, and the government also as a third sort of party, all kind of smashing together for whatever the secret is. Who knows, maybe it's like an old fucking weapon. And we haven't even done gangs, which we'll do it on a later stream. But I feel like you could also, perhaps, if we get a gang that makes sense that why they're involved, we could also throw that in there. So you could really do a lot of different intrigue and political stuff with a very, very simple little premise. So I'm just going to write out just a little blurb here. The Sunnyfield scheme, petty scheme, is to figure out what Otto Biscup is looking for, locate it, and take it for themselves. And that's our scheme. From that, like, just little quick kind of, I don't know, wiry outline, I think you can build a storyline off of that, and as you just really, really, you know, put some meat on that skeleton. But that's the first scheme. And now we'll just do a district scheme. And let's see here. So the pay scheme, as you saw, only had the one milestone. A district scheme has 3. So I feel like what's one that's more interesting? So we have either inflict a PR disaster on arrival, and the corporal is back a useful group of terrorists. I think that one sounds more interesting because I feel like there's a lot more pitfalls I could have. I mean, both are pretty good for that, but we'll go with Violent International's back a useful group of terrorists for the district scheme. Oops, lost my page again. There we go. So, scheme number 1 was this one. Also, you know what I'm gonna do? Maybe I'll just at the end, but I'm gonna put like a big line through each so I can properly, you know, bracket these by themselves. I'll just there we go. Scheme number 2 is the Violet International district scheme. And their scheme is back useful group of terrorists. Okay. Okay. So I feel like for like a starting mission, sort of the yeah, yeah, I do need to check out Sound Legion too because I really only have the Rules Outnumber games, the three of those, and Wolves of God, um, but he just does great stuff. Scarlet Heroes is also really good too. Um, I do know if you're gonna run one-on-one things, a lot of people recommend looking at that book because there's a lot of stuff in there I think for making characters stronger. Um, So it is a useful book, I believe, if you're trying to do more smaller groups. Let's see here. Starting mission. For backing a useful group of terrorists. I think, so I'm big, especially with Cyberpunk, I'm really big on, if these are first missions, like, if I'm seeing these missions as, like, essentially, when the players get into the game, you have these two schemes as like the first two sort of jobs you can get involved with. You might have some other stuff there too that you want, maybe just literally like a guy being like, hey, bring this like package across the city. A lot of people want it, whatever. It's like a little criminal job of just like, playing like mailman until they feel like they're ready for more stuff. But if they're not, I feel like the way I'm sort of looking at this is that like session one, their fixers, like I got like, or like the fixers they talk to, they have two different jobs they can go for. Either the Sunny Fields pay scheme or the Valley International scheme. And I like, for first sessions or for first missions, I like bombastic stuff. I think it draws people in a lot more, and it just, sets the tone that like shit will be really fun and will be crazy in this campaign. So I feel like if we have the crazy heist for Sunny Fields, maybe throwing them in the deep end with this terrorist group, for maybe like a kidnapping job could be really fun. It depends on what the terrorist group is. If they're like eco-terrorists, I think what we went with was like religious, like zealots, I think. Like a radical terrorist group of like either political and religious ideologies. Is what we went with. So it could be them destroying like a structure in the city. Like maybe it's them, destroying a bridge. Or, like a historical monument, something like that. If that's, again, if we're going after White Rhino in some way or another. Okay, cool. I was just checking my playlist to see if there's still music playing, but yeah. Still an hour left on that one. Yeah, I feel, you know what? I feel like the starting mission is either the group solo or with a small group of terrorists has to go destroy a... Oh, thank you for the follow, Evelyn. I feel like that either destroys like a civic structure, historical monument slash building, or let's just throw in, or assassination of a public figure. I think this would be a really good one to do if you want to throw somebody into the deep end. I feel like if your whole thing is like having the players question what they're doing, because they might not necessarily know what the terrorist goals are, what like, what their whole, manifesto is about. So this could be a fun one for them to be like, oh my god, we just jumped in like with 2 feet forward because the pay was so good, but holy fuck, what did we get ourselves into? Because a whole bunch of things could go wrong. They could get found out and now be wanted by either maybe some angry factions or the government. It could be, oh my god, we've done something horrible. Even our like gray area characters feel fucking awful about what we did. Or you were tricked. Like maybe the assassination of the public figure was like, oh, we're gonna go kill this like corrupt cop, like this chief of police who's corrupt. Then it turns out that chief of police or whoever it was actually somebody else, maybe somebody who was actually, like a prosecutor on a case against, Was it Violent International or something like that, where they find out afterwards or too late, or right when they have the choice to pull the trigger, that's what's going on. I think there's a lot of drama you could do with that for that first mission, and then you can just throw them right into it, and from there, I feel like a lot of drama, a lot of mission ideas, and just a lot of chaos will just sort of spew forth from that. So yeah, we'll do a starting mission. I think that works. And then we have milestones, and we have 3 milestones. So we'll just do milestone 1. Milestone 1. So we have resource-related ones. Let's try a resource one, because I feel like that could work for if we're sort of bouncing between the players having to do the scheme for Violent International, but also working alongside the terrorist group that has their own agenda. I feel like we can mix between business-related milestones and resource-related milestones, because I feel like the milestones will just push forward what the terrorists are doing as well as what the corporation wants. So I think if that makes sense, I don't know if what I said made sense there, but my point means that there's 2 different groups that we're talking about here, and their agendas may vary, but I feel like the overall milestones will push both of their ideas forward, or draw a bigger schism between the 2 groups. But we'll do resource-related milestone first, for milestone 1. Since if we're going after like the civic structure stuff or like historical monument, this might be another thing they might be doing. Number 5 is take over a valuable income stream. I think that totally works. A valuable income stream. I feel like that could be more on the terrorist group end, where they are maybe trying to get some funding from a different group. Maybe there's like a local religious organization, or maybe they're going to try and, you know, take over like a certain small part of a district, you know, do like some protection rackets. It could just be like a car thieving ring. But we'll leave that there for now. We'll do milestone 2. And we'll do business related here. 17. Coerce or buy positive reporting on the. I don't think that really works. I think we'll just stick with resource. I think resource might make more sense for terrorists. Okay, I rolled 17 again, which was acquire a lost prototype or device, or beta device. And I think this works again for these guys. I think everybody's mind probably just went to super weapon. Very unstable weapon. Maybe some sort of like mini nuke that could like take out like a neighborhood. Maybe it's some sort of like biological weapon, like some sort of nerve gas. Maybe it's like, you know, a tank or something like that they're trying to get into, so they can use that to maybe destroy something, or, you know, go up against whoever they're fighting and, you know, have an actual fighting chance in like this weird like pro-type tank thing. Or beta device. Milestone 3. We'll do a resource-related one. 3. Seize a cache of materials needed for this plot. Okay. I mean, I don't want to keep going back to the idea of, like, with milestone 2 being the device. These materials could actually be like the fuel you need. Oh yeah, there is Sordak. Yeah. You mean like with the gang, with that like the really like evil guy who goes like bitches leave. Yeah, I would say this, the way I'm seeing this terrorist is like sort of like that, probably like on a bit of a bigger scale. maybe not like, you know, not like a huge like private army or anything like that, but maybe like just like a group of like maybe like 30 people, maybe more, maybe it's growing in size. Maybe the cache of materials for this could be a logistical thing. It could just be like, hey, we're actually growing as a big group now. By milestone 3, we actually have like, you know, the tide is really rolling with us. We need proper logistics to actually keep things going. Whether that's, you know, food, money, certain things. It could also be, hey, Lovefist. I'm seeing domestic. So essentially, just to catch you up, Sordak. I don't know if you've been here long or not. Essentially, one of the megacorps we had was Violet International that I rolled up here. And their corp goal is to back a useful group of terrorists. And I want this whole thing essentially to be just a sort of like starting district stuff. So I'm thinking more domestic terrorists in this district and maybe like the outlying districts that just sort of keep things on a bit of a smaller scale so that the players aren't like overwhelmed by having to deal with citywide stuff, but instead deal with more district level stuff. So I'm seeing them more as like a small group, very close to like a gang, honestly, of like religious or like political zealots. Because that we kind of went with Marco, the CEO of Violet International, the one who wants to back these terrorists, looking for forgiveness and kind of saw forgiveness as like more of like forgiveness in the religious sense. So we thought, you know, maybe he's so greedy in doing all that, and he's so greedy and everything else. He's under this like crisis of morality where he's trying to lighten his conscience by funding this radical terrorist group that he thinks maybe whatever goals they have, he sees as like the moral thing they're doing. As horrible as it is, he sees it as moral. So he's funding them. So yeah, I just downloaded a lot to you, but I will upload this whole VOD to YouTube later on. So if you do end up wanting to watch that, it'll probably be easier to pick apart what I'm saying. But yeah, seize the cache materials needed for this plot. That could be guns, that could be gold, that could be any sort of thing. It could also be like a power source needed to make that prototype, you know, no longer prototype, or maybe it's like a just like the last part, like the upgrade that you need for it. Maybe it's like a power armor or something like that. Like maybe whatever the prototype is. So I think that works for that. And then that's the 3 milestones for a district-wide scheme. And then we have the sort of the final goal. Yeah, well, sorry, that would definitely work because, so this district, which we called the Gut, the 2 traits we rolled on were human trade and urban maze. Human trade being, could be sex working, it could be a lot of horrible things. I'm imagining it's an amalgamation of all the horrible things that human trafficking would be over. I see it mainly as wage slavery, but there's a lot there that you could really unpack that makes it really awful. And the urban maze part essentially just makes it like Kowloon walled city. So you mix those 2 things together, and this is a pretty awful place to be in. And then the final step, as before, profit. So, and I'll just do another blurb like I did for Snipe Fields. The Violet International District Scheme is to fund... Oh, and one thing too, for anybody who's joining, I'm also making everything somewhat vague. I'm trying to give enough that you can take this for your own games and jump off of it, if you so choose. I'll put this notepad file. I'll upload it to the Discord after the stream. But people can take this and do what they want with it. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, they can take this, do what they want with it. So I'm making sure that I'm not going into too much detail, so that you can take some of these details yourself and then just do your own thing with it. Yeah, so the Violet International District Scheme is to fund I'll say semi-local, or we'll say fund a regional terrorist group currently focusing its resources in this district and the surrounding ones. At the behest of, who was it? Was it Marco Telshin? The goals of the... Oh, should hit enter, because this will just keep going forever. The goals of the terrorist group are primarily religious in nature, and they are extremely violent and hard to, I'd say, extremely violent and an unstable group. Yeah, I'm seeing them more as like a right wing kind of group. You know, with the whole religious thing. But yeah, I think in general that sort of gives kind of an overview a little bit. The schemes are interesting. I feel like the schemes are kind of hard, I guess, to do it in this style because you don't want to plot necessarily everything out. You want to plot out the sort of general ideas, the milestones. The milestones are like basically like the sub goals for the bigger goal. But you don't want to play too much because in a sandbox game, anything can happen. So if you start trying to like force players down a route so that certain things happen, I don't think that will work too well. So I think at this level, and then just fleshing out a few things, and then also just having a good idea of where you think things are going or where you want them to go, I think is good. And then if the players change any of that, that's where the fun stuff comes in, where you might have to start, changing how the plan goes, and which I think letting the players know that will make them feel good. If you're like, listen, here, like, these guys had different plans for what was going to happen, but you guys did this and this and this, and now they are scrambling for this own thing. They're scrambling to do something else or whatever it might be. I think the schemes are very interesting. They're a good way to essentially have these moving gears that are always happening, because they also might not actually be all that affected by what the players do. You might try and bring it to their attention. But some of them, like the book says, some like the really big goals from like the big corps, it could be extremely dangerous to go up against. If you're trying to stop a scheme, it could be something as simple as destroying an entire facility. But destroying an entire facility could be an extremely deadly job you're doing. Dealing with turrets and guards and advanced cyberware, and other hackers might be fucking with your cyberware and all your stuff. So it's a really cool thing to have, basically, that the world has stuff going on regardless of what the players are doing, and the players might have an effect on it, both either positive or negative. And I just think that's really cool. The other thing too that I would do with schemes as well is that sort of what I had with like the Science Field scheme is that their scheme is against Otto Biscup, who runs White Rhino Universal. You could at the first session, or maybe the second session, you could maybe have them sorry, I'm not speaking English right now. You could maybe for the first session have scheme number 1, scheme number 2 as like mission ideas that they could do. Like, oh, here's like the starting missions that I had for heist of a moderate security facility, or either the group solo or with a small group of the terrorists has to go destroy a civic structure. You could have those missions, and then maybe next session, maybe like White Rhino reaches out to the players, has this thing where it's like, hey, we heard about you, we heard about like either what you've done, or they just have no idea that the players helped the scheme against them, and they might ask them for help against the scheme. So you might have 2 different corporations or 2 different factions asking for help on the same scheme on opposite sides of it. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I should go get some food. I don't know if there's much else I want to do today. I do want to do more streams. Like, I want to do the gangs. I basically want to keep fleshing out the gut. I think if we can get some more NPCs fleshed out, some gangs, maybe some NPC operator groups, and a few other things, maybe like a fixer and like just some stuff, just to really have like, you know, a sort of starting area and NPCs and locations that you can just take for your own games, and have the players like sort of see or meet up with. I think would be really, really fun. I don't know if I'm missing anything. I think that's pretty much it. We have the Megacorporations. Oh, I guess we'll do a quick summary here. We have the district called the Gut. We have 3 megacorps in there. We have the Sunny Fields, which is a security corp run by Melon Tusk, or Milan Tusk. We have the Violet International company that focuses on cyberware. And that one has Marco Telshin, who is this very interesting... There we go, Steve. Yeah, perfect. I was really expecting someone to make that joke a lot earlier. I thought Tim was gonna do it. I'll give context to anybody who's watching this who doesn't know what we're talking about. Once I just give out the summary. We have Violet International for number 2 with Marco Telshin, who's like an interesting weirdo, who is just having this weird crisis of morality. The weird thing though with this crisis of morality is that it's not like the thing he's doing to alleviate his conscience is a good thing. He just thinks it is because of his own, biases and beliefs on both politics and religion. And then the final third one we have is the White Rhino Universal Megacorp, run by Otto Biskup, and their focus is construction. And Otto is currently somebody who has this like reverence for history and is also trying to track down something secret that's here in this district. And then we have those 2 schemes that I went over just like 5 minutes ago. One being the Sunny Fields pay scheme is to figure out what Otto Biskup is looking for, locate it, and take it for themselves. And the second one is Val International, and basically them backing this terrorist group and whatever they're doing. So to give context to what Steve's making a joke out of, is that I made a video before I left for vacation that was just doing a quick character creation thing, because I want to at least get some video out before I went off for 2 weeks. And somebody on that video just said like something along the lines of like, ugh, it doesn't take this long to make characters. He says, I have the book. It does not take this long to make a character, which just makes me assume he didn't watch the video, or just got annoyed. He saw that it was an hour long and didn't realize that like the point of it was just to like hang out and chill, and just sort of shoot the shit while we make a character. It wasn't like here's how to make a season number character in under 10 minutes. Like that wasn't the content. The content, like just like this one, is to just sit back and enjoy, put this on in the background while you're playing video games, or like doing some studying or cooking or whatever it is. So it was very funny. What makes it funnier, the reason why it's even come up, is that Tim, who's here earlier, was watching another season number video by a different creator, and that guy also commented on that guy's video. Honestly, a much harsher one than he wrote on mine, about like, you really need to speak faster and get your information out. You're gonna lose a lot of people if you have long videos like this. It's just very funny that they found that and posted that. So obviously I will say it right now just because I want to make this clear. Obviously, if anybody sees that guy in the comments or goes back and sees the comment, please don't harass that person. It's just a random person on the internet. They don't matter. But it was just very funny. But yeah, so that's the context for Steve's little joke there. Yeah, I already did. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. But if he does comment on this, I will laugh. You know what? I'm gonna say this right now. If he comments on it, I'm gonna pin his message in the video. Because there's no way in hell he's gonna make it to this point, because we're 2 hours in. And I guarantee he clicked on it, wrote his comment, and then left the video. But yeah. I think that's pretty good for today, guys. I am just going to save this. I'm going to post it in the Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, you can find the Discord link either here in the Twitch chat, or like on my Twitch profile, or in any of my YouTube video descriptions. You should be able to find it, and you can join. But yeah, I think that is good enough for today. I don't know when I'll do the generating gangs for the district video or stream, but it'll probably be like next week or so. And yeah, peace out, guys. I hope you had fun, because I know I did. I can't steal Let's Game It Out's outro, because his whole thing is I hope you had fun, because I know I did. I can't do that. I can't steal from small 5 million like subscriber Let's Game It Out. I gotta come up with my own thing. Anyway, peace out, guys.